And then you also have your podcast and links to a few other things.
Yeah.
So definitely go listen to that. My last question is, what is one question that you wish people would ask you more?
Hmm.
Hmm. Wow.
You ask good questions.
You asked very good questions. While he's thinking on that, I want to tell you guys, I could sit here and talk to y'all for another hour. This
Yeah,
has
we've
been very
we've really
enjoyable.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So, and by the way, we don't have a hard stop at 8 because the girl that's going to stay with our dogs tonight is running late, so we're good on time.
Oh, okay. I was
Okay.
looking at that.
I'll just go ahead and say it's an easy answer. Ask about our dogs more,
Oh, really?
or just because I could talk about dogs forever. But also, if you're a nerd like me, ask me some nerdy stuff about the studio or like specifics on guitars, because I'll talk about that forever.
Oh yeah, we didn't even get
Nobody
into that.
nobody asked the specifics, because you'll be playing this amazing guitar, like and then nobody knows what you're playing, but when someone does, it's really exciting for me, because they're like, oh my god, is that a 1960 Gibson ES30? So that's exciting for me.
I would say maybe just because I never talk about it, not that I necessarily need to talk about it, but just my background and how I grew up and my family and like growing up on a farm and like talking more about my childhood, because it was a very wholesome, happy childhood, and I grew up riding horses, and so that, or my college degree is in pure mathematics and physics, so I could go geek out on a lot of metaphysical. AI is always at the forefront. I'm studying constantly physics and math and knowing what's coming. Futurist, I study all of that stuff, and so I don't really talk a lot about that on interviews. I do share some of it on my social media, but that would probably be. I mean, that's something I could sit and talk to anybody who's in that same space. Like I could sit and talk for hours to them about that.
Cool.
And it's so outside of music,
Yeah.
for the most part.
And I'll say one more answer is, I do like to share like why we wrote a song. So I do like sharing if someone asks what made you want to write that song. That's fun to share.
Mm-hmm.
Those are some
Good
questions.
answers. Yeah.
Those are some good answers.
R&D over here going for you figuring out what to ask people on podcasts. That's a great little research opportunity to ask your guest that, because now I can tell you know what you're doing. How many of these have y'all done? A lot, I can tell.
We're on like 103 now.
Yeah, that's incredible. It's great.
For us, it's mostly just natural curiosity.
Yeah.
We both have strong retail backgrounds. So we got, you talk to people and.
Well, they say on the curiosity word, they say if AI is allowed to seek truth and curiosity, that we're going to be safe. When we start not allowing it to do that and giving it parameters to force it to think certain ways, we're not going to be safe. So Elon was talking about that. So I like the word curiosity, because I think if we have that just ever wanting to know and learn and grow, that's a beautiful thing. And then of course we need to seek truth. I mean, that's obvious to me.
Fascinating.
I would love to geek out for just a second, because
Sure.
I know I do actually love math quite a bit.
Sure.
And I do now I am not to the level of like physics and pure mathematics that you are. However,
It's been a couple of years since I've been. I mean, just a few years since I've been in college. So I'm
She asked me math for some reason.
Don't ask me what 3 plus 8 is, but I got you on some calculus.
for those that might be listening, what's a good resource that you would recommend for those that are trying to improve their math skills?
Well, math skills specifically, I can't really answer that. What's a good resource here? I would just say, just in general, YouTube is always going to be your go-to to learn anything. I don't care if you're trying to change your oil in your car or you're trying to learn math equations. I mean, YouTube, there's somebody out there sharing how to on YouTube. I'll kind of take that and add to it and go another direction just a little bit. My favorite thing right now to learn in the math and science, realm, there's a couple of podcasts, and actually I'll just pull them up because they're right here on my phone. The podcast and actually the videos, because I watch podcasts more than I do listen. Well, kind of both. I fall asleep watching them, and then I'm listening as I'm falling asleep. But Lex Friedman, Andrew Huberman, Tom Bilyeu, Peter Diamandis, and then anything Ray Kurzweil. Ray Kurzweil is a mathematician, futurist, physicist, scientist who has predicted, and he made Kurzweil pianos. He's just always been an innovator and has had really, really successful predictions for many, many years on where science and math is headed. And so anything Ray Kurzweil, and he will be interviewed across many different platforms. So if you just type in Ray Kurzweil and go listen, he actually has a new book out called The Singularity is Nearer. He had one called The Singularity is Near. Now the most recent is updated for like the last year or two. The Singularity is nearer. And so he's
near my
very good. So any of those resources, they interview and talk about health science, AI, futurism related to, science and where we're headed in the world. So that would be my recommendation.
I used to use Lumosity a lot. That's a really good brain app.
Yeah,
That's good. Yeah.
that's really cool. It's been a minute since I've had to actively do more complex math, and it kills me to this day that I didn't keep up with it. So that's my little side of nerdism. But then there's that other side of me that's like cosplaying and figuring out sewing techniques and advanced things. And I've got like French seams to do.
That's awesome. Well, there's so much math in all of that. There's math in music. I really, honestly, I get so structured with my music. I get too structured and have to let myself just feel instead of think on the mathematics and music. And but anything really has math, and sacred geometry is everywhere. I mean, then you could go metaphysical and talk about what I think AI will unlock for us is a lot of the questions that Einstein couldn't answer. Those will be answered in our lifetime through AI, and so that's fascinating and exciting. But yeah, I don't do any complex math lately. I mean,
one that is kind of funny. You mentioned y'all were both in retail, but also on the nerdy side. I used to work at Hobby Lobby.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got really good at doing percentages because like things go on sale constantly.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, like you had to take the gun and like figure it out on the spot and be able to change the tags, and like especially during like Christmas time, because it would go from 50% off, then 60, then 65, then 70, 80%, and it would change like weekly. So we would constantly be having to go through the store and doing percentages, and I was the only one there, I feel like, that had the ability to do that, because everybody else had to use their phone, and if the manager like caught you using your phone, like he hated that.
Sure.
So like like there was actually literally a math quiz. Like to work there, they gave you a whole big math quiz, like to do multiplication and division and percentages, and I was like,
that's
oh crap,
actually really good.
I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna fail. I'm not getting this.
That's one thing about Hobby Lobby is they've always kept things kind of on still a little manual. Versus using computers and things like that.
You're right.
They just upgraded their payment system. Like before it was like a swipe only, and now you are finally able to tap your card within like the last 6 months.
I like that we all know a little too much about Hobby Lobby.
Well, I might be shopping there mostly for the fabric.
I was gonna say about the fabric thing. When Trey sent me a message, I don't know how many months ago it has been now, but recently, about making a kilt. And the thing about kilts that I learned from making them, because we both do costuming, is it's very mathematical, because making those pleats relies on the appearance in the end of how the pleats go to preserve that the plaid pattern. It requires you to calculate what the repeat of the pattern is, and then how deep your pleat is, and so there's a lot of math in kilt making.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't even think about it. What were you gonna say?
Oh no, that's a remind me to ask you about that later.
Okay.
Those means I actually learned to sew. My mom taught me to sew. So during the pandemic, whenever we lost all of our gigs, and there were no masks to be found. Everybody had to wear a mask, but there were you couldn't find a mask. Now you can find them everywhere. But so I went to making masks. Cliff and I made over 2,000 masks and started selling them to people, sending them to the post office to make money so we could survive. So I don't know if I'll ever want to ever make another mask, but we had I had a little too much fun, ordered way too many fabrics
Oh, man.
because I was like, everybody wants all the patterns.
We still have a whole storage room full of just fabric.
And I do have some ideas now for some fashion stylist stuff to do for our show. And
Fun.
with the fabric, we'll see how that goes. But
I think you'll
hope it doesn't
surprise
smell
yourself.
bad from storage. It might
Nah,
need to be washed.
they're in nice plastic tubs. They might smell like plastic tubs, but
And fabric's washable.
yeah.
I can't wait to see what you do with that. That's exciting.
Thank you.
Gosh.
How fun.
Well, Cliff, Susan, I have had a blast talking to you. I really want you to come back on the podcast for another time. Will you please come back?
Absolutely.
This
absolutely.
was
Let's
so
do it.
fun.
Maybe I'll have a different dog in my lap next time. Y'all are so much fun. I wish you the best with the podcast.
Thank
and
you.
You're doing a great job, and let us know, and we'll come back on and talk about whatever. I love it.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank
me
you.
too. I'm excited about that.
Well, seriously, please go check out Cliff and Susan wherever you might be interacting with them, whether it be on social media, their YouTube page, or live in person, preferably live in person, so that you're supporting them.
Especially if you're Willie, Dolly, Greg, or I
Lane.
forgot the last one. What?
Lainey Wilson.
Yes, Lainey.
Yeah.
Then please check them out live
Yes.
in person.
As we close this episode out, we have two special dedications. The first one is, as always, to Joe Camone, our moderator, fellow comedian, passionate encourager, and greatly missed friend. The second one goes out to Sandra Sawyer, our producer, our encourager, our cheerleader, our just everything that we need her to be. Her birthday is upcoming, and we wanted to say an early happy birthday. And we could not do this podcast without you. So please know how special you are to us. We love you, and we wish you all the best.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Happy
you so much. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, everybody, go out there and play some fiddles and some keys. Have a great day.
Thank you guys. See you
Thank you
soon.
so